quick question? Sorry, it's
Yes.
related to horses.
Sure, yeah, I can stay on.
Okay, so when you do Reiki for a human,
Yeah.
have you ever had the horse help you and be in the same space to do Reiki on a human,
You mean physically or spiritually or both?
physically in the same space?
Yeah, that's what we do in our equine therapy
Okay,
retreats and our equine therapy sessions. So the horse
okay,
is present, and we don't do like obstacle courses or riding, which is fine. There's all different styles of equine therapy, or they have all these names now that they're
yeah,
equine assisted learning, and I call it
okay,
equine therapy because I have a degree in psychology and animal
okay,
behavior.
okay.
But and so we basically meditate. So we stand in silence, stillness, presence with the horses. And just like a Reiki session, it magically activates what we need for balance. So we have emotions come up or insights or clarity. And then there's a process, you come to the equine healing retreat or the equine session. We have a questionnaire to fill out. What would you like to work on? And then people choose a horse, or a horse chooses them, and we stand beside them, or we sit beside them on a bale of straw or something. And then we are still. So I have found in my decades of being with humans and horses that it's one of the hardest things for humans is to stand in silence and stillness.
Well, so
So
that's funny. I've never known that that's what you do. After all these years, I never asked that question. Oh my goodness. Because I sent you this video of this lady who does that, and she had like five horses around the client. And
yeah,
I've never seen that anything in my life. And I thought, and like the horse put the head like on the body of the client. And I was just blown away. I just
yeah,
like, because I know that uh, horses have huge energy and it goes far, far away. And we have a little tiny aura and they have a huge. That's all I know, but I had no idea that you did that. That's so cool. Thank you for educating me.
you asked. It came up at the
I
perfect
know.
time. But they're always so the Heart Math Institute did that famous study years ago where they
Yeah.
measured like with electrodes and all sorts of, instruments, the electromagnetic field of a horse's heart, and it was 5 times larger than a human. So then they measured humans, they hooked them up to machines or whatever, and they measured, their heart rate and, indications of anxiety or stress and all that. And just being in the presence of a horse, just standing beside a horse is life changing.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have come for a life changing experience guided by the heart of a horse. And this is not just in therapy sessions. This happens
No.
every day on a ranch. We have workers on the ranch. We have volunteers from around the world here. And they like regularly, I don't even think of it. They regularly will come out and say to me, I was just standing, even with the fence, everything in between, beside Raven or Spring Rose. And they, like, the words they will say is they healed me. I don't know what's happened. Something's changed. I feel released of something. And they weren't even doing an official session. They weren't doing like an awareness of what you want to work on or choosing a horse. It happened last winter. There was a wonderful young couple from France, and we were taking our senior Rocky out in the snow for a walk. She was just leading him through the snow, and she started to cry. And I said, "Is everything okay?" And she said, "Yeah." She goes, "There's something about being with Rocky. Like I'm just releasing all this tension. I'm releasing everything I've been storing." And that was just her taking him for a walk. A wonderful a volunteer from Japan was here a couple of years ago, and it was her day off. She went to visit the horses, and I was in the little barn doing, and she came in and tears. And I said, "Are you all right?" And she said, "Yeah." She said, "Macy healed me." I said, "What do you mean?" She goes, "I don't know. I was standing beside her and just kind of scratching her bum, and then energy moved through me." So this is why I say every horse is a pillar of light. Every horse is a pillar of light. Wherever there are horses, there's a pillar of light. And a friend came up, a colleague came up for a private retreat last week, and as she was leaving, she just went to say goodbye to Raven, and the same thing. I don't expect it. It's just it keeps coming up. It happens naturally. Because they are bridges of heaven and earth, and this is why I'm so passionate about saving horses, right? But thank you, Martin. So, and also what happens sometimes when I'm doing energy healing sessions, the horses will come in. So I have dreams of the horses, and not just to me, but to the client. So maybe 20 years ago, I did a Reiki session with a client, and she said to me, "Your horses came." She wasn't connected with horses at all. And then when I went on social media a few years ago, we reconnected, and she said, "I still remember when Trigger came to me in that Reiki session 20 years ago." I had no clue that was happening. I was in my empty mind. And so we're in the presence of magical spiritual beings all around us, but we are also magical spiritual beings, right?
Yeah, I was standing outside and there was a horse. There was something. And that was back in the time that I thought, oh, I don't want people to protest, to trespass. I'm going to put a sign up. So this is like maybe 500 feet away. And I like walked really fast. I thought, oh, I don't want them to trespass. Got to the end of the woodlot, and who do you think was there?
A
A
horse.
horse and a rider. So I could feel the horse's energy 500 feet away.
There you
I
go.
was just blown away. And I don't even work with horses.
But you don't have to. That's it. Like I
Yeah,
didn't think about horses for years. We had horses when I was young, and obviously I was connected to them. I was very young. You know, then you're young, your parents sell them. You have no control, right? You're like a little
yeah.
kid. And then I didn't think about horses. I love all animals.
Hmm,
And then they started coming to me in dreams when I was in my deep cocoon of healing, when I was going through my big
hmm.
inner transformation, and they started coming to me as beings of white light, and talking to me, and other animals too, and like humanoid forms of white light. And that's what got me on this path, right? I'm not a policy analyst anymore. It's been a while. It's been a while. And then the actual physical horses didn't come into my life until a few years after that when I met Trigger. And Dan remembers Trigger. Yeah, I remember the beautiful thing you mentioned when Trigger passed
Trig
away, Dan.
Trigger lived until 43, correct?
Yes, yeah. He was almost
Mhm.
44, yeah. And we think he was in his 50s because the kill buyers who send horses to slaughter, they usually give you an age 10 or 15 years younger. So we think that Trigger was probably around his mid 50s. Same with Woody. Same with Woody. But he was my first rescue horse. I mean, that's the term used, right? Rescue. And but I hadn't, like Martin, I hadn't thought about horses. I wasn't a person who always wanted to be with horses. When I was ready, then they came to me, and then they kept coming, and they were like, "You're it for this mission." You're like, "We're not going to let you forget it." And not just me, but I mean thousands of other people as well. So, and then it was like, "Okay, all right." All right, I'm on it. Be patient with me. I'm just a little humble human. I'm trying to I'm trying to keep up with you, right? But horses guide me all the time. And I mean they're my spirit guides. And they have the duality that we have. They are wise masters and they also need help, right? Because they're being eradicated. There's a
Yeah.
holocaust of horses on the planet. So they're the both, right? They need our help, but then they're also helping us. That's why I call it uniting humans and horses in love. Uniting humans and horses in love. And but thank you for bringing that up, Martin. That's yeah, that's I'm in that energy all the time. And I have clients coming for VIP days or retreats, and the horses are involved in some way, shape, or form, or we just do an equine healing retreat. And it's very relaxed. We don't, we have a system for the therapeutic or the coaching process, but with the horses, it's very relaxed. And I support every approach to that. So some people may have someone lying on a treatment table and the horses come over. Other people may ride the horses. Other people may clean their hooves and do obstacle courses, or, I mean, we basically meditate, you might say, with the horses. So whatever approach someone wants to take, I fully support that. But just being in the presence, and we can call on their energy and invite them in. But I was really blown away when 20 years later, a client that I reconnected with on social media remembered that one of my horses came to her during the Reiki session. She remembered that forever,
Yeah,
right?
even I was at the fall fair a couple of years ago, and I had my camera, and I said, "Do you mind if I like come close and take a picture of the horse?" And the horse didn't move an inch. And then the owner, who was, riding the horse, said to me, "She likes you, like she's comfortable. Obviously, she's not scared of the camera or me or anything." So that was really cool too. And I didn't say anything. Didn't come in contact with the horse because the horse doesn't know me. And I said, "Well, how long would it take for a horse to be comfortable with me?" And she said, "Probably about a day." And I thought, wow, that's pretty cool.
It really depends. It depends on the horse, depends on the human.
Yeah,
We just
okay.
let it, we
Yeah,
just let it. I mean, I often, I don't like the word rescue, but that's the word we use. I rescue horses from the
yeah,
slaughter pipeline. And and sometimes they have so much trauma, like it takes years, right?
yeah.
And you just stand in presence. I haven't worked with thousands of horses, but I've never met a horse that was a mean horse or a bad horse. They just have trauma, or they had bad teeth. They had a tooth problem or something. They can't tell you, or they have ulcers or something, and they act out differently. But I used to sleep with my horses. All these things didn't know about me, Martin. That's what I'm getting back to. I'm getting back to that. That's my mission, is to get back to sleep under the stars in all weather, Dan. In all
Not
weather.
just not just in the summer, Dan,
Not just
okay?
in the summer. You get all your winter gear on, and the moonlight and the snow, and the moonlight on the snow sparkles like diamonds, and there's no leaves on the trees, and you dissolve into the oneness of the universe laying beside your horse outside. Every season has it, and Dan's dissolving on a sailboat in the wind, and the salt, or the whatever, the lake air, and I can feel that too. I mean, that is, then you're dissolving in the elements there. I mean, you're so close, you're in the elements there,
Both
right?
sound pretty great.
Both are really good. Yeah. Both are really good. Okay, wonderful. Okay, thanks again, guys. Lots of
Thank
blessings.
you.
all
Thank
and
you
join
all.
us
Thank you,
again.
Lydia.
And I'm here to help you. Okay, if you need help, to reach out and come visit the horses. Okay,
Thank
bye-bye.
you.
Bye.